Come experience what lies beyond the sports car. American Motors introduces Eagle SX4, the new four-wheel drive sport machine. Eagle SX4 outcorners Trans Am in soft sand, out-accelerates Mustang Turbo in loose dirt, outbrakes MGB on dry pavement. Plus, the four-wheel drive Eagle SX4 beats them all in gas mileage. Experience driving in the fourth dimension with American Motors.
Welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
I got scared. I dropped my hot pocket.
I'm drinking rum.
It's Rum and Nerdy.
I'm drinking rum.
The time has come.
I'm drinking rum.
So grab a glass, some ice, your bottle, 'cause we're about to drink some rum.
Kicking like I usually do, drinking.
I'm drinking rum.
Here's Greg and Garrick.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Rum and Nerdy. I'm Greg.
And I'm Garrick.
And this is episode 5.06. Sorry, 5.05. We recorded it out of order. This one is the American Eagle.
I'm sorry, Greg.
The AMC American Eagle.
I felt it fitting because, I made this sweet Super Bowl logo, and I feel like we've been talking about the build-up all year. We owed it.
And I got to own it.
Although I have to say that the American Eagle is such a terrible car. And this commercial is hilarious because it's like, hey, it outperforms this muscle car in the dirt. And and it outperforms this crappy car on the pavement. And you're like, wow, you're just picking your battles. It's like,
It's almost like the commercial was made by Cincinnati Bengals fans. Sorry, had to get one last one in there for the season.
Last one for the year, yeah.
So, the Chiefs were not... They were not on their game.
They did not bring their game. And you and I had, I think, offline conversations about it. And you're like, I don't know if the NFC has anything that can stand up to the Chiefs. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Packers have gotten their asses kicked by the Eagles twice, and I know the Packers are not the Chiefs, but oh my God, the Eagles have been freaking tough.
The Chiefs weren't the Chiefs this game,
which is fair. I will give you that all day long.
Couple observations. One, the problems with pass coverage were glaring.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes had no protection whatsoever, so that sucked. He was clearly unfocused. I'm not saying this as like I'm saying this because I genuinely feel for the guy. Apparently, his grandfather was in hospice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and had gone in like the day before. So, there were some things going on at the same time. I can't say anything or make any excuses for Travis dropping literally every ball thrown to him in the first half. Like he wasn't there. And who showed up for the Chiefs? The defense, the run defense. Saquon Barkley was supposed to he's going to get 160 yards and break all records, and Chiefs held him. At the same time, there's only so much you can do because Jalen Hurts got to run the ball quite a bit because you can't cover everybody.
You can't, and believe me, when you try to cover everybody, Jalen Hurts is going to run right up the middle, and oh my gosh.
So the Eagles won, a baller of a game. Offense didn't really make any mistakes. I think he threw like one interception early on, I think, but
no, it was no.
I thought there was one turnover in the Chiefs' favor early, but they did not do anything with it. It was
you're right. Yeah, it was a three. Yeah, three and out. It's when they were backed up into the end zone. Yeah,
and the Eagles defense just dominated, you know. So, yeah.
So there you go, listeners. This concludes our football season.
Some of the things that kind of bother me is that there are so many people out there going like, Mahomes, he's done now. He's always going to suck from now on.
No.
It's like,
no, I mean,
bold.
Brady never three-peated. I mean, and
Brady never went to three, and
I mean, he has all the he has the most Super Bowl rings out of anybody, and
well, if their career goes the same duration, Pat has 13 seasons to catch up with his record. So he's got 3. He needs 4 more in 13 seasons. Yeah. Time will tell. A lot of speculation whether or not Travis is going to return. I think he is. I don't think he's done yet. I think he's pissed and embarrassed right now, and he's feeling probably a little sorry for himself. In regards to that, his interview from his brother on New Heights, he's like, hey, at the end of the day, it's just football. It's just the thing I do for work. Yeah. And he was very happy. He was surrounded by a lot of unbelievable people that love him, and his everyday life is fantastic. So yeah, he seems to be getting over it fast. So I'm proud of him, but I'm not ready for him to be done. I need 2 more seasons from that guy. I need 5 more seasons from Andy Reid.
You think Andy Reid is close to leaving, or
he renegotiated his contract last year, and I want to say he's got 4 or 5 more years left.
So you got plenty of time.
Yeah, Andy hasn't implied that he's done. They went to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. I'm sure that before some of those guys are like, you know what, maybe my time is done. They need to have a season where they're really fucking terrible, and they weren't really fucking terrible. So. Anyway, I love my Chiefs. I love my hometown, as do you, and we're going to actually talk about your hometown a little bit today.
We are. It is totally a throwback to my hometown.
So how's that for a transition, kids? We're going to go from talking about my heart being sad. Again, I'm not mad. I think I said to a couple people, and I'll leave my comment. I knew, like we all knew, this was going to be a hard one. There's going to, there's going to be a hard one fight. I was just pissed off that there wasn't more fight.
Well, and that's what you said before the AFC Championship game. You're like, I just hope they show up. I just hope they make it, make a game of it.
Yeah, I didn't want this to be the game.
Yeah,
this was hard to watch. As any fan looks at that and like, ugh. So anyway, moving on. That's all I'll say about that, Jenny. So, So I had to let you in on the secret that I've been putting together for you for a couple weeks, and that is finding a bottle of Roaring Dan maple flavored rum in the state of Florida. I had actually talked to our buddy Martin from In Park Magazine about bringing me a bottle.
Wow, you really tried to get a hold of this.
Yeah. So, we looked at shipping. You can't legally ship from Wisconsin. You can't legally ship unless you are a retailer with a special tax license. So we couldn't do that. There is no rule about it taking in checked luggage, so he was going to bring me a bottle. And I found one bottle at a Total Wine that happened to be, because we went this last weekend, we went down to Fort Lauderdale to go to the Mai Kai. And I feel like we need to not talk about it, because that's next week's episode. Yeah,
next week. Well, what's really funny is last week, we sat down with the...
Time is all...
Yeah.
Time means nothing.
Time means nothing. We sat down with Typhoon Tommy, obviously, but also
Corey,
the head the new head mixologist for the Mai Kai.
He's badass, by the way.
Yeah, freaking amazing. It's a little not painful. Painful is the wrong word. When you do a rum review with somebody that actually knows what they're talking about, it's like, like you do this professionally. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, talking about esters in this. I'm not going to go too far.
It's funny when you make a bison grass joke, and he's like, no, I'm not getting any of that. But maybe a little bit of grass, but not bison grass. You're like, oh, fuck, you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
ooh, okay.
Maybe there's some duck grass in there.
It's Kentucky Blue or something. Yeah.
Some crabgrass. But crabgrass has been fertilized by True Green. No, Hudson. Yeah.
So that's next week. In theory, we could talk about our visit, because we haven't done a wrap up of visiting, so we could talk about the venue.
I feel like we need to do another episode with Tommy just to talk about that.
NPR style, walking around the venue like an audio tour.
No, I think I want to get him in the studio, because he hasn't been to the new studio He's had been here in a long time. But here's the other thing too. Like we've got a couple friends that worked on the project over at Perry Becker.
Mm-hmm.
Like we should get maybe a couple folks to come by and talk about that project.
Yeah. No, I think
and just do a big review.
Do a big Mike High night.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I mean, I think it's historic enough that it deserves it.
Yeah. And I know that even Corey said he was going to be up here first week in April for something Tiki Luau, something show that's at Caribe Royale.
Oh, yeah. Tiki Tea?
No, it's not
No.
that. I think Anyway, I think we if they're all going to come up for that, I think we can do a conversation. Hukilau. Yeah. I don't even think it's that, but I think Hukilau is the one that just happened down there.
God damn it. Yeah, that was Rum Congress.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's a lot of stuff going on.
There's a thing coming up early April. I think we tie it to that and get a few people to do like a good panel discussion. So,
moral of the story is we went way out of our way. Not way out of our way. We went out of our way to acquire the last bottle of Roaring Dan's in the entire state of Florida.
And the guy was like, yeah, we don't carry this. This bottle's been here for 3 years on that shelf down at the bottom, wedged in the back, and nobody has even thought about it.
It was like shoved in behind the Malibu and something else, and it was on sale. Please get rid of it. Yeah, I think you got it for like half off the listing or something like that.
Literally 50% off. It was on the get this the fuck out of our store price. So because it's listed online as $42 a bottle, and we got it for $21.
Which Corey did not have any nice things to say about it. Apparently, because he used to work at
he used to
work. He did not bad, but he used to work at 3 Dots and a Dash, and apparently, in certain Chicago circles, this is like the Malort of rum.
Yes and no. I think he even was kind of like, meh.
I don't know.
It's the not. Okay, so here's the thing. It's very sweet. It's maple flavored.
It's maple flavored.
And again, it's not overly maple flavored.
I made a maple bacon rum old fashioned with this a while ago, and I was happy with the results. And to say nothing of the drink that we're going to be sampling tonight, the
Double DNR,
which was invented on season 1, episode 32, the one with the agents.
God, that was so long ago.
I know, like 4 years.
We were, so it's for anybody who started that late or just doesn't remember 4 years ago, we were at the Safe House
in Milwaukee.
And we had gone to a tour of the Great Lakes Distillery, which was really freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that make this. We had also stopped by the Cheese Palace Castle thing.
Mars Cheese Castle.
There you go.
If you're ever driving somewhere in the greater Kenosha Racine area on 94 in between Illinois and Milwaukee.
Every time we say this, I just, hello, Wisconsin.
Hello, Wisconsin. Yeah.
Not a thing to do.
And you know what they used to make there?
What?
AMCs.
That's funny.
There's an AMC plant. In fact, in the show, that 70s show, Red Foreman worked at the AMC plant.
Hilarious. And he made the Eagle. Anyway, and that's exactly the kind of car a Red Foreman would make. But regardless, so that trip I got introduced to Roaring Dan and to Sprecher root beer. So when we were at the Safe House the first night, I'm like, hey, not for nothing, but can I get a double Roaring Dan's with Sprecher root beer? Because the maple flavor that's in my mind is like that. The maple sweetness is going to go great with root beer.
Yeah.
And the server came out, very young server, very confused.
It's an important part of the story.
Had opened a bottle. I mean, it's a bottle with a cap.
It's a bottle of Sprecher root beer.
Yeah. It's not a screw-off cap. It's like a legit metal.
It's like a little beer bottle.
Yeah. So pop the cork on it. Filled that little reservoir between the root beer and the rim of the bottle with with Roaring Dan's and then brought a shot glass because it wouldn't all fit in there.
She's like, I'm sorry, I had to empty out some of the root beer because I couldn't make it all fit because you ordered the double.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
and I'm like,
what
no,
kind of a contraption
have you made
do
a
you...
rum and Coke before? And it's a glass of ice with rum, and then you fill it the rest of the way with Coke. That's what I want.
But substitute rum or substitute Coke with root beer, and instead of any old rum, I want Roaring Dan.
Yeah. So
when the lights went off, they're like, "Oh, that's what you want."
It
like
wasn't.
a drink.
It wasn't like that. It was like she was confused. I'm like, just do me a favor, bring me a pint glass full of ice, and I will just pour it all in there. Okay. Finish that one. I order another one. She does the exact same thing. Finally, after that one, I'm like, you see how I'm taking this pint glass full of ice and I'm making a rum and Coke with root beer? That's what I'm trying to order. Well, why wouldn't you just order that? Like, you mean a double rum and root beer? Oh, and it finally kind of like, oh.
It was funny.
So,
it was funny.
Anyway, so because of it's Double Dan's, Double D, and root beer, Double DNR. So it sounds like a do not resuscitate, but
which is fun.
Yeah. And we drank them out of rum.
We drank them out of Roaring Dan's, yeah.
Yeah. Over those 2 or 3 days, they ran out. We had to find something else to drink. So we have not had this drink since that night.
We haven't. It's been literally years.
Yeah.
I have a bottle of this somewhere in my stored bar collection. Okay. So I'm going to measure this out with a little shot glass. So we're going to do actual doubles.
You want me to open that bottle?
No, I got it.
You got a bottle opener?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a twist off.
The Dan's is actually in the same bottles that we use for our eggnog. It's got the fancy little resealable cap.
Nice.
Let's peel that off a little bit. The other funny part is that measuring this out as a double is probably less rum than I usually would just dump into a glass.
Probably.
That's why it tastes so good. There's less rum or something.
Yeah. Nice Foley into the shot glass. We need 3 more of those things.
Triple DNR?
No, I think double's probably good. It's a school night.
I'm spilling it all over myself.
Oops, it smells wonderful. Very maple syrup. Wonder why.
The shot glass is not good for pouring.
I should have just got the jigger. Here we go. Nailed it.
Actually, that is a decent quantity of rum.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with the ice in it, that's about half the glass.
And now,
Nice. Well done.
I like the little CO2 wafting out.
Yeah.
Like it was a
mist.
Like it was a gun that was just fired.
You were every step of the way. You're just glug-a-dig glug-glug. Here we go. Give you the official stir of Rum and Nerdy.
The Martin Aquatics Swizzle Stick. Martin Aquatics, the official bar tool sponsor of Rum and Nerdy.
We're just throwing.
If I keep saying that, Josh might give us more free stuff.
Oh, I'm sure he's probably already got a box of stuff to give us, which is funny because it's the same thing with like Sean and Scott and everybody else. It's like they're all like, I gotta give them something to love on the air.
There you go.
Doesn't look like there's a lot of ice in this. It all melted, I guess.
Yeah, it was. I didn't want to burden this drink with ice.
Burden. Here we go. Cheers.
Babu hai.
It's exactly as I remembered it.
This is a fantastic effing drink. It's almost like Roaring Dan's was distilled for the sole purpose of mixing with Sprecher root beer.
Right?
Oh my gosh. It is a really good drink.
Now that I took a big glug, I am going to add some ice to it because I like it cold.
Yeah, same. The ice was the container, like the top was kind of popped on it, so all the ice sort of melted together, and I was like, nah.
Well, yeah, and they're itty bitty. Here you go, ice bucket challenge. There's the lid. Okay, well, that's the episode. I don't know what else we're going to talk about.
I don't know. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
I can. So Sandy and I will probably finish up this weekend. We'll probably finish Billions.
Okay.
The show is not finishing as strong as it started. And it's kind of interesting. I was watching an episode the other day, and specifically because we're getting ready to go in production for one of our shows.
Oh yeah,
pilot. And thinking about the way it edits back and forth, and there was a couple spots where it's like, it's in that edit where, and this is a small thing. This is like the things that bother people who kind of do that and have to look at it. It's the two people in a room having a conversation. One person says something to kind of finalize the conversation and turns to walk out, and then it cuts to the other person who's just got that weird grin and nod, like, yeah. and you're like, I'm imagining myself on set going, okay, just in case we need it, just kind of smile weirdly and just nod, looking like where they would be standing in case we just need to get a reaction. It's like,
nine times out of 10, it's not even that. It's like, well, the camera guy, the A cam guy started rolling before the B cam guy, and what you're really seeing is, room tone audio being played over this guy getting yelled at by the director, for farting on set earlier in the day, and the editor's like, I just need a picture of this guy smiling. Oh, here's one. You're like, oh, it's not even in focus, but fuck it, throw it in there.
Yeah,
I need to complete
this.
I need to complete the scene.
It's like,
just like your colon, the shot was soft.
You can see the guy in the background wearing his watch, hiding behind the curtain in his tennis shoes. Yeah, absolutely. Not good editing. Anyway,
yeah, but sometimes it's fun. But that's when you're sitting in the editing room. That's one of the fun challenges of just, hey, there's A cam, there's B cam on, take 1, 2, and 3, and then you flip the world and you have the exact same thing all over again. And it's like, oh shit, I have like 12 different pieces of footage that I have to kind of splice together to make one cohesive thing.
Yeah.
And because actors are actors, they never have the same delivery, the same whatever. Like, oh, hey, you said the line perfectly, but in this shot, you had your hand on your forehead, and in this shot, you didn't, and now I can't use any of this, and damn it. Anyway, I digress.
I know who you're talking about. Anyway.
Maybe.
Yeah. So where were we? Anyway, it's still good. It's still good. It's fun. You're kind of seeing this arc of where they're going to wrap it up. So we have one more season.
Hold on. Can I just say that however good I thought this was when I started drinking it, it's cold. It's cooled down now with all the other ice you put.
Yeah. So much good.
It just gets fucking better. This is a really good drink. I'm upset that this drink isn't for sale at every bar in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
The Great Lakes guys could retire if they just sold
the Double DNR.
A Double DNR to every bar in Wisconsin. I'm not saying that Wisconsin has the most bars per capita of any state in the country, but they do.
They have a tiki bar that we went to that time. It's just like somebody's living room.
That's the way most bars in the greater Milwaukee... Wisconsin. I was going to say the whole state. Most of the bars in that state are just some people that are like, you know what?
Hey, hon, we don't use the living room.
We could turn the living room into a bar, make it ADA accessible, and maybe add an exit sign, and then we could just live upstairs.
Yeah, we've got the loft. We mostly watch TV up there anyway.
Yeah, that's the way most bars are. Have you been to St. Andrew's Pub in Altamont Springs?
I don't know that I have.
North of Orlando, there is a legit English pub called St. Andrew's. I think I might have mentioned it at some point in time in the show, but it's an English pub. Like, everybody that works there is British. They have plaid carpeting and wood beam ceiling joists with steins hanging from them. There's soccer playing on TVs all over the place. They have real darts. Most of the building doesn't appear to meet code, but that's another one of those. Just hey, here's a house.
That's a tomorrow problem.
Here's a house at the end of the street. We're going to turn into a bar, and it's a low ceilings, the whole nine. It is a legit English pub. You've spent some time in the British Isles. I would like to get your take on how authentic you think it is.
Let's go. I mean, not right this second, but let's go soon. We're supposed to be trying to set up a time to have a drink with Kim, our artist buddy Kim.
Yeah.
So
artist Kim. He hasn't been on New Show. He was on Old Show, but not New Show.
He was on New Show.
Where, really?
I think the pirate episode we did was from his house. I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. We did do a pirate episode with Kim.
But I had invited him tonight too. But they do their Valentine's Day early to avoid crowds in public places.
That sounds oddly smart. It's like I want to go out and do something cool, but I also hate people.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? The day before Valentine's Day?
Right.
Valentine's Day Eve? Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been episode 9, the one with the pirates. Season 1, episode 9. I don't has he been back since?
I don't think so.
Man.
I don't think so. So we need to have that real fast. I'm going to go this distiller.com. This is the we didn't really rate this time. Well, we've rated it. It's fantastic. But distiller.com calls it a 4.05 out of 5. Pretty solid rating. This rum is distilled from fermented grade A molasses, but on the second distillation, maple syrup is added. The maple syrup is also locally sourced, Cumberland, Wisconsin. Roaring Dan is named after Dan Seavey, a pirate in the Great Lakes who infamously the words are hard. Infamously stole a schooner named the Nellie Johnson back in 1908, which was loaded with lumber. He was able to board the ship. I don't think they meant that. And got the crew drunk before throwing them overboard. When finally caught, he claimed he won the ship in a poker game. That's funny. So there's that.
He's also the only person to have ever been accused of piracy on the Great Lakes. That's kind of his big claim to fame.
That's hilarious.
It is. Roaring Dan.
Rumrating.com has 4 total ratings. 1, 2, 1, 4, 1, 5, and 1, 6. So it averages out at a nice 5.0 out of 10, which is not as good as the distiller.
I'm pretty sure that it's South Milwaukee's best rum.
This guy says, bah, not for me, way too boozy and nothing interesting about it. Doesn't have any maple notes that I can sense.
Way too this rum is too rummy.
Yeah. No, it's just not. It's not rum mapley enough. Solid maple rum made in America. Support local distillers. That is from Chris, who's from Canada. And sometimes these are just funny.
Roaring Dan's is not currently affected by tariffs.
There you go. I am always interested in U.S. rums, but to date, the Papa's Pilar and Koula, which we've tried both, are the only decent rums I've tried. This one sounded interesting because, like the Papa's Pilar Dark, it is also maple rum. This tastes more like sugarcane rum than molasses rum. I generally prefer molasses. Smells and tastes of charred oak with small hints of bourbon and a little maple. Nothing close to Papa's Pilar.
I wouldn't call Papa's Pilar a maple rum.
Well, they're talking about a very specific one. It's on the bit of a dry side and rather thin as opposed to creamy. To me, this rum isn't smooth enough to be a 45% ABV. It comes across harsh at that strength. That one was written by Papa's Pilar.
Really?
No, not really. But that's funny. Anyway, so check that box.
45%.
Also, since I had it up, Sprecher. Sprecher is kind of an interesting story. They started out as a brewery. It was a guy that used to work for Pabst Blue Ribbon, and decided to leave and start his own thing.
The full story, it's Randy Sprecher.
Yep.
Who actually I met at a Sprecher tour once. Like, you're hanging out in the tasting room and Randy walks in and you're like, oh shit, like this is kind of your place. They used to brew beer, I think they still brew beer.
Yeah.
But they would go to all these brew like homebrew competitions and these microbrew competitions, and people are like, oh yeah, you make beer, that's pretty good. And then they started making soda, like to pass the time, or was in between aging. Like there was some reason, like, oh fuck it, let's crank out a batch of soda, and their soda ended up winning more awards than their actual beer.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, well we should probably just be making the soda.
Well, it says here, interestingly, Randy was drafted in during the Vietnam War, but because he was colorblind, he was sent to work for a general in Augsburg, Germany. There, Randy fell in love with German beers. After his time in Augsburg, he returned to California, where he grew up, and began brewing German beers at home. 1972, Randy decided to take his hobby to the next level and applied to study fermentation science at UC Davis. Then he perplexed the state of California by applying to establish a microbrewery, a concept that the state did not understand then. And down and out, Randy secured a post as a supervisor of brewing operation at Pabst in Milwaukee. He packed up everything and moved in a Volkswagen van and moved to Milwaukee. And then in 1984, he left Pabst to establish Sprecher. In 1985, he opened the first location on Oregon Street, and then it flooded and the parking lot fell into the river. And so they moved to a new location, which is where they're at now.
In Glendale, Wisconsin, just north of the city.
Yep.
It's so growing up in Milwaukee, we would always when I was in college in Milwaukee, we would always kind of start our weekends by hitting brewery tours in order. And Sprecher, which has been described by, I think it's the Lakefront Brewery, describes the Sprecher Brewery Tour as the Mr. Rogers of brewery tours. But they start at like 10 in the morning, so you can go there and, get an early start to your brewery tours.
Yeah.
And then you do Miller. The Miller tour is a lot of fun because that's a big batch. Old history, classic Milwaukee, but it's a legit big brewery.
Hey, next Rum and Nerdy of the weekend, we should do in Milwaukee.
We should absolutely do it in Milwaukee. And then to finish that story, you end at Sprecher, which is the animal house of